Hello, I'm Super Orange Cat here today with a quick review of Season 2, Episode 1 of Made in Abyss. It debuted last night, 12:30 in the morning on Toonami. And I'm going to give some of the things I liked about it, some things I didn't like it, and then tie it up with a big old bow at the end of this review. Now, what did I like about this? I have to think hard because, well, frankly, I'm going to say more things I didn't like about this episode than did like. And really, I'm going to first kind of go over the response that people had to this episode when it first came out. That might be the best way to start this because it was more confusion than anything else, I believe. There was a lot of people that when they saw it was characters that weren't Reg, Rico, and Nanachi, and as these other characters, and it looked like obviously like a prequel movie, which it functionally really looks like it is. They were just confused. It's like, it's definitely Man Abyss's art style. They're definitely coming up onto Orth, and this is definitely the Abyss they're going into. It felt like a completely different property. And the first 15 minutes is about this half red hair, half white hair character that I didn't care about, and based on the reaction line, most people didn't care about. And this other white hair boy, which I definitely didn't care about. I didn't like the red hair girl. And then the white hair boy came in, I'm like, you know what? The red hair girl at least looks comparatively better. And again, it's like when you have this narrative already about Reg, Rico, and Nanachi, and you're built it so tightly and so well throughout the whole season and throughout Dawn of the Deep Soul. And then all of a sudden you want me to care about characters that were generations before these characters, as evidenced by the fact that Orth really didn't exist yet. There was no city there. And that the natives that were presumably gone from the Abyss in the modern day were still there. And it's like the issue of any movie's prequel trilogy, or whatever. It's almost worthless because you know exactly how it ends, or you know what it sets up in the future because you've watched how the actual original movie started, or the original series started. And again, there's no real intrigue of those characters because you're like, yeah, of course they've made it to the city of the Golden City, the capital of the Unreturned, so you know they don't come back. But the question is like, oh, did they die because of the weird poison gas we see in this second episode trailer? Or are they all hanging out with Liza doing body shots or something at the very, very bottom? Who knows? But again, then you also get to, I'm going to start going into maybe the one thing I liked about this episode. That was like the actual 3-4 minutes we had with the main cast towards the end of this episode. It was well after the commercial break, and this was Reg, Nanachi, and Rico, right where Dawn of the Deep Soul leaves off. They've entered to this small crystal ship that's supposed to take them to the 6th layer, and they're basically biding their time there, and it takes hours. So you have them just hanging out, you have them have emotional, you have them making multiple references to Dawn of the Deep Soul. You might be wondering, hey, what's that white thing around Rico's neck? Why is she calling it Prushka? That answer gets answered in Dawn of the Deep Soul. Why is Nanichi talking about this Bondrude guy a lot? Why is he saying, oh, he's not a threat to us anymore? And you might remember the end of the first scene, it's like, wait, isn't Bondrude that guy that says, I'll be waiting for you, Nanachi? What happened to him? Well, that gets answered in Dawn of the Deep Soul. And based on the on-round reaction, I think the overwhelming majority of people who watched this episode did not watch or is even aware that there was something to watch to get into the second season. And that was really just an issue of marketing. At no point did I ever see any official marketing for this talk about Dawn of the Deep Soul. It's just a bunch of anonymous people online said, hey, you need to watch Dawn of the Deep Soul, have any clue what's going on, and to set yourself up for going into the 6th layer. Because again, Dawn of the Deep Soul is basically their adventures in the 5th layer, mostly in Bondrude's compound. But I digress. And it's odd. The one thing I like about this episode is Rico taking a shit in the crystal ship. It's just funny because again, it's like this great interplay between the characters where, again, you can talk about these kids doing amazing, incredible stuff to stay alive, but it's like Promise Neverland, you have to remind yourself, these kids are like 12. These are kids. So you have these emotional moments where Rico is like trying to tell the boys, I have to take a shit. It's past a minute and a half. I can say shit on YouTube now. And then the boys were like, well, there's multiple stories of cave raiders dying because of relieving themselves the wrong time, so just do it now. We'll look the other way. Then she like goes in like this little crater on the ship, And then like the boys are like still there for another hour or two. So after she's finished, it's still the poop's still right there. There's no way to get rid of it. So then you have Nanachi walk over and make another reference to Dawn of the Deep Soul. He's like, "Hey, Bondrude, you can still see my eyes, right? Hey, how about you look at this 10-year girl's shit?" I thought that was hysterical. And oddly enough, that might be the most hated part for most people. And that's the thing. A lot of people talk about Made in Abyss, and I have a friend who's diehard into Made in Abyss, and we talked about this a bit. And she's like, "Yeah, I could definitely see a lot of people taking issue with the amount of, let's say, lolly and Shota content in this. Like, for example, first season they talk a lot about Reg's member. They talk a lot about it in Dawn of the Deep Soul. You have a couple times in the first season where they bring emphasis to Rico urinating herself. And in this episode, you have Rico taking a poop. And a lot of people are like, that's weird. Someone's drawing this with one hand. And you know what? I don't want to delve into that controversy. That's not my thing. But a lot of people are starting to be like, it's problematic. It's not right. And it's like, you can watch anything other than Toonami, you have it's a free country. It's actually amazing. There's all these different websites. There's these different like TV channels you can watch. And if there's something on TV you don't like, you can just like flip to a different channel. It's like your God-given right in something, man. But again, people choose to be offended at this. Enough of that rant. That was the best part. Worst part of this episode, I think, was just the whole concept of introducing these characters I do not care about. I don't care about the red hair girl. I don't care about the white hair boy. I don't care about the captain who's decided to eat Z-bugs. I don't care about these people. I don't. And outside of that, it's just them doing the same thing that Rico, Reg, and Nanish are going to do. And I have a feeling this is shot like a TV movie. This is shot like something you see Saturday at 2 in the afternoon because the network didn't get the rights to air any college football games. Something like that. Something cheap. And that's the vibe I'm getting, especially when it's anytime the main trio is not on screen. And I'm not buying it. Only notable thing is that the main girl has a compass thingy that either is or is very similar to the compass that Rico loses towards near the start of their adventures in season 1, where it's like it fell deep into the abyss, and it's like Reg's like, "Hey, that's our compass, and that's supposed to help us." And Rico's like, "Well, we're supposed to go like down, right? That can't be that hard." And plus, I know all the guidebook stuff. But again, it was kind of a confusing start to the season. More bad than good. One good funny moment is happens to be one part when our main trio's on screen, and at least the second episode promo shows only the main trio. So maybe instead of showing them for 4 or 5 minutes this episode, they're on the screen for like, the whole 22 minutes. I doubt it. They seem committed to these characters, these other boring characters, in my opinion. But what do you guys think? If you like this content, comment, like, subscribe to me here on YouTube, or if you're also watching me on my other syndicated channels on Rumble and BitChute. I am the Super Orange Cat, and that is all.